Now, a special report from KARE 11 Investigates.
It sounds like there might be 2 victims in the house.
A double murder.
It just doesn't make sense.
A search for answers.
What would you call this then?
Falsified records.
Surprising confessions.
I did illegal things.
Whistleblower revelations.
And just bill.
A federal raid claims of kickbacks and schemes.
We didn't steal millions of dollars.
Warnings ignored. Lives lost.
It's not just a black eye. I mean, it's a punch to the gut.
KARE 11 Investigates. Recovery, Inc.
Thanks for joining us. I'm AJ Legault. This is an investigation into claims of kickbacks, schemes, and false Medicaid billing at an addiction treatment center, costing taxpayers tens of millions of dollars. But we found the real toll can be measured in lives lost.
October 20th, 2022.
Someone's in the house with a bloody face.
St. Paul police rush to a Lawson Ave sober home for a reported murder.
The victim in the basement, unresponsive.
A man spotted in the alley, covered in blood.
They were taking the guy in the back into custody right now.
The TV kept saying, take your opportunity.
The TV kept saying, take your opportunity.
The TV said they're going to kill me.
Joseph Sandoval's story sounds like madness, that the TV told him to kill.
The TV told me that. When I was watching Dragon Ball Z.
2 victims were found inside, killed with a knife and hammer.
It just doesn't make sense.
Marcia Murphy's son Jason was a handyman at the house, working in the basement. What happened here with her son's murder and the murder of John Wentz, an Army veteran living in the sober home, left her with so many unanswered questions.
And hopefully maybe someday we'll have some answers.
The biggest question: why was Joseph Sandoval even at the sober home? Joseph himself told investigators he wasn't where he belonged.
I'm supposed to be in a hospital. I'm not even supposed to be outside.
He was right. At the time of the murders, Joseph was under a court-ordered civil commitment. He had a known history of severe mental illness, drug-induced psychosis, and violence. Records show, after his arrest, he asked to have both legs shackled to a hospital bed because I don't know what I'll do. His past proves that.
911, what is the address of the emergency?
2 years before the sober home killings,
Well, I just had a guy burst through my door and smash a couple of my windows.
Brian Plunger's Minneapolis home invaded.
He's just breaking random in my house. He's all bloody.
Were you able to tell pretty quickly that this was a man having a mental health crisis?
Like, my immediate impression was, whoa, this guy needs some help.
Police came and took Joseph to HCMC. He didn't stay long. Weeks later, he attacked people with a knife, this time taken to jail where, unprovoked, he beat another inmate with a broom. Charges in that case were eventually dismissed because Sandoval was mentally incompetent to go to trial. He was released. His violence escalated. Joseph stole a cab. Led police on a wild chase.
Southbound Portland.
Slammed into a pedestrian.
He just ran somebody right over.
Not once,
I'm a dude on the ground, and he drives directly for me.
but twice.
You think he was trying to kill you?
Yes.
Sandoval again found incompetent to stand trial. This time, a judge ruled he poses a substantial likelihood of causing physical harm, so ordered him civilly committed. Joseph was sent to state-run, locked, supervised treatment in Anoka. But records show, due to staff shortages, he was discharged to Evergreen Recovery in St. Paul. Evergreen was an outpatient treatment center where clients were free to come and go with little to no oversight.
When you have a man like Mr. Sandoval, who's known to have psychosis tied to use, was Evergreen the right place for him to be?
No, not at all.
Daniel Dwyer was, for a short time, a counselor at Evergreen, which billed itself as a harm reduction program. At Evergreen, abstinence from drugs was not required. Clients and even some employees referred to it by the nickname Never Clean.
And I was seeing people using on site, and not just casually, using drugs. They were outside the front door.
Joseph Sandoval's attorney claimed in court records that Evergreen allowed Mr. Sandoval to use illegal substances, and he repeatedly tested positive for drugs. Carol Levin's investigation uncovered city and county records that revealed dead people found inside Evergreen sober homes after overdoses were an all too frequent occurrence. And whistleblowers shared pictures like this of violent fights they say they were ordered by management not to report to police. This was the environment where the state dumped Joseph Sandoval.
Is this a halfway house or something?
Yeah, it's a sober house.
It was in an Evergreen sober house that Joseph, psychotic, hallucinating, with paranoia fueled by unmedicated mental illness and drug use, murdered 2 men because he thought the TV told him to.
Taking any drugs?
Still ahead.
I did illegal things.
Our investigation exposes allegations of massive fraud in Evergreen recovery that shines new light on the Sandoval murders.
They were being billed for treatment, but they weren't getting treated.
Recovery Inc. continues after the break.
It was the same every single day. And
Watch long enough.
So the blue van is leaving.
Here we go, white van leaving.
At Evergreen Recovery, an addiction treatment facility in St. Paul,
they're billing for every van ride.
and there's a pattern. A pattern costing taxpayers millions.
It's not right.
The vans come and go, stopping at a network of affiliated sober homes, picking up and dropping off clients.
Okay, it's 2:10 and they just dropped off another person.
Clients like Kumari Robinson.
It has me upset now.
Kumari, he goes by Q, went through drug treatment at Evergreen. He was friends with Jason Murphy, the handyman murdered in the Evergreen sober home, and told Jason's family there was more going on at Evergreen than meets the eye.
I have reason to believe that my insurance has been falsely billed by Evergreen Recovery.
His insurance is taxpayer-funded Medicaid. During the spring of 2022, Q lived here at this Evergreen-affiliated sober home just 3.1 miles from the treatment facility. But according to Q's Evergreen records, every single van ride, time after time after time, was billed to Medicaid as a 45-minute trip.
Did that trip take 45 minutes?
Absolutely not. Even with hitting every stoplight, you take 15 minutes to get there tops.
We're all set. Let's go.
He's right. We timed it.
Says it's 10 minutes.
Turn right on Stellar Place. Turn left on Energy Lane.
And we've arrived. That took exactly 10 minutes.
Why is that important? Evergreen bills Medicaid $1 a minute for these van rides.
We're not here to hide anything. We absolutely go to painstakingly to operate within the law.
That's David Backus. He and his wife, Sean Grigo, seen here standing in front of their $200,000 Mercedes G-Wagon, are Evergreen's owners. The people driving their vans are certified peer recovery specialists. People like Leah Jondal.
I did illegal things, but if I don't come forward about it, I'm just part of the problem.
Leah worked at Evergreen for 3 months. She quit in November 2023 and blew the whistle to DHS, but said no one called her to investigate what she claims Evergreen management ordered her and other peers to do. That includes van ride overbilling.
They all got billed 45 minutes, even if they got on the van and they were the last stop and it took 8 minutes to get back to the center.
Taxpayers still paid 45 minutes of peer services for that person.
Correct.
It's 5:57 and the van's pulling out of Evergreen.
Carol Levin watched and timed. Van routes
It's 6:01
often lasted just minutes.
and the van's making its first stop. It is 6:10 and they're stopping again to let someone out.
How is someone being in the van from Evergreen Recovery to their sober home 8 minutes away, 45 minutes worth of billable time?
That I don't know.
Here's an answer. The drivers use these Evergreen Recovery log sheets, which state below are times that must be used for daily reoccurring activities such as van transportation, and then list 45-minute time frames for sober home van runs.
And then it mandates that you fill in 45 minutes for everybody in that van.
Yeah, that's what our bosses told us to do.
She also says peers were ordered to group bill everyone in the van, contrary to Minnesota law that mandated peer services be provided one-to-one.
One-to-one is you and me sitting here having a conversation right now. We're one-to-one.
Minnesota State University at Mankato Associate Professor Roy Kammer is the former executive director of the Minnesota Certification Board, the agency that credentials peers.
If it's me, you, and 10 other people, that's not one-to-one.
That seems straightforward. But at Evergreen, their official charting and log guide told peers notes should always be written as service provided to a singular client, even if you're working with several clients at a time, such as providing orientation group.
Are you group billing?
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
Backus, along with CFO Heather Heim, Chief Housing Officer Bailey Peterson Ford, and CEO Chantel Magadons, invited KARE 11 inside in February 2024 after spotting us watching their facility.
Can we help you with something?
Which led to this impromptu interview that got really weird. They told us the law doesn't say what the law says.
There is nothing in state statute that says it has to be one-to-one.
Strange. The legal one-to-one requirement is printed right on the Evergreen forms. Then they told us one-to-one doesn't mean one-to-one.
You can provide one-to-one services to multiple people at the same time.
Correct.
One-to-one at the same time?
Yes. I just explained it to you. A car ride is providing the service to 8 people. Individually, you're getting a ride at the same time.
What Evergreen was doing allowed them to bill taxpayers astronomical amounts. Example, internal data obtained by KARE 11 reveals a peer billed for 203 hours of work in a single day.
203 hours. Is that, do you think that's in any way acceptable?
Based on the state statute, yes, it is.
How many millions are you billing a year for peer services?
How much do you make a year? That's not really your business.
It's the public's business because it's public dollars. The Minnesota Department of Human Services, DHS, provided Medicaid billing data revealing between September of 2021 and December of 2023, Evergreen Recovery billed for more than $3 million in peer services, more than twice as much as any other addiction treatment center in the state.
It was very rare that any peer had legitimate one-on-one time.
Someone in the house with that bloody face.
Just hours before Joseph Sandoval murdered 2 men in an Evergreen sober home, records obtained by KARE 11 show he met with peer recovery coach specialist with no reported concerns at that time. The peer did not want to speak on camera, but told KARE 11 she met with and billed for a group that day, so she did not get a chance to interact with Joseph Sandoval one-to-one.
I think you're just wordsmithing it, that one-to-one can be provided to multiple people at the same time.
We asked Q what he would call claims he received one-to-one peer service in those 3-mile van rides that allegedly took 45 minutes.
What would you call this then?
Falsified records.
Still ahead, KARE 11's investigation uncovers a bombshell claim that Joseph Sandoval was getting treatment at the exact same time he was committing murder.
And it's signed by your wife, Sean.
Recovery Inc. continues after the break. Welcome back. As we continued to dig into Evergreen Recovery, our investigation uncovered tens of millions of tax dollars going to the facility to provide treatment that did not appear to be provided as claimed, including for Joseph Sandoval the day he committed double murder. At Evergreen Recovery in St. Paul, each week, hundreds of people battling addictions come and go.
So we take people who are basically thrown away by society.
David Backus and his wife, Sean Grigo, are Evergreen's owners, while their clientele certainly have struggles. On social media, the couple appears to live the good life. Designer clothing, luxury hotels, travel on private jets, a $200,000 vehicle. Backus defends it all.
You should talk to the people that benefit from our services, and I can assure you, we work hard.
That's exactly what KARE 11 did.
You're looking at your records and they billed your insurance for counseling sessions you did not get.
Yes.
Kumari Robinson, he goes by Q, went through addiction recovery at Evergreen. He shared with KARE 11 his treatment and Medicaid billing records.
That is a lot of money.
Money he says Evergreen overcharged his taxpayer-funded insurance.
Yeah, no, I wasn't in group that many times. There's no way.
You're sure?
Yeah.
Like 100%?
100%.
Here's 3 examples. On September 21st, 26th, and 30th, 2022, Evergreen billed Medicaid $70 each day, claiming Q received group therapy. On those same days, Q has time and date-stamped Snapchat photos of the paper route he was working. He says he never went to Evergreen on work days.
You know for a fact you were not in group sessions on those days?
Yes.
Zero doubt?
Zero doubt.
I saw this all the time with people at Evergreen. They weren't getting treatment. They were being billed for treatment, but they weren't getting treated.
Daniel Dwyer is a licensed drug counselor. He says he quit working at Evergreen in 2023 when he discovered evidence of false billing. But he did not know, until KARE 11 showed him, how the very false billing red flags he was concerned about tied his name to Joseph Sandoval's double murders.
It's not just a black eye. I mean, it's a punch to the gut.
KARE 11 uncovered internal Evergreen records that claim Joseph Sandoval was in a group treatment session with Daniel at 4:15 p.m. on October 20th, 2022. The records state client appeared to participate in group.
I clearly did not make this.
Was it possible for Joseph Sandoval to be in your group at 4:15?
It was not possible.
Not possible because that's the exact same time Joseph was 6 miles away committing a double murder. Daniel points out the record was signed not by him, but by one of Evergreen's owners, Sean Grigo.
And it's signed by your wife, Sean. At that exact same time, he's charged with murdering 2 clients in the sober home.
I can't comment on anything related to him.
Backus, when pushed, did produce another record he claimed proves there was no fraud. What it shows is, on October 26th, 6 days after the murders, they changed the original record and marked Joseph absent from treatment that afternoon.
Nothing was billed for it.
Backus told us their billing was 100% by the book.
We've had DHS here multiple times combing through any and all of our billing, and we've been given a clean bill of health every single time.
That's just not true. An open records request to DHS revealed they repeatedly flagged Evergreen's billing. Example, February of 2023, DHS issued this warning. Evergreen Recovery has billed for peer support and group treatment services where there is no documentation for the service. It is a crime to provide false information on billings for medical assistance payment. So, just how much public money had Evergreen billed? State data reveals in 2021, it was $3.1 million. In 2022, it jumped to $6.5 million. In 2023, it exploded to more than $21 million. That's $31 million in just 3 years. How did the payouts explode so quickly? These 3 former Evergreen employees told KARE 11 they witnessed blatant and widespread false billing.
Why are you sitting here today?
Because I no longer am okay with my complacency.
Ethan Warren is a nurse who worked at Evergreen running group addiction counseling. He says clients would come to a session for just minutes, sign in, and then leave, but get billed as if they were there for 4 hours.
They were billing for people as if they were there for the whole time, even when you knew they were not.
Correct, yes. I was just told to put them on the attendance and then just bill them for all 4 hours that they were supposed to be there.
It appeared to me that it was just a way to make more money and just bill.
Tracy Dorr is a former Evergreen drug treatment supervisor who says he raised red flags to management about billing for people not actually in treatment. He says nothing was done, so he quit.
Me, I didn't want to be a part of it anymore because I knew that it was wrong, and it's doing more harm than good.
They're not in group, and they're putting them in group.
Leah Jondal is a certified peer recovery specialist who worked in Evergreen's attendance office. Carol Levin documented how Evergreen had peers billing Medicaid astronomical amounts. In one case, a peer billed for 203 hours of work in a single day. Leah showed us how she was instructed to falsify phone call billing records and overbill for van rides. She also says she witnessed clients billed for group treatment who never came inside the building.
They'd hang out in the parking lot, but they would get billed for 4 hours a group.
That's exactly the scenario Q describes on a number of days where his records claim he received drug treatment.
I wasn't in group. I would either sit outside or I wouldn't be there at all. And I won't lie, like I was at the time sometimes selling weed and there were people up there that would buy it from me.
Still ahead, in the wake of Carol Levin's investigation, the federal government had seen enough. We'll be right back. Open the door, we have a warrant, yelled federal investigators as they raided. Dozens of agents from the FBI and Health and Human Services Inspector General descended on Evergreen Recovery at dawn on June 30th, 2024, executing a search warrant. Agents took out box after box after box.
They're looking for something.
What they were looking for was spelled out in an affidavit by the FBI special agent in charge of the case. It details allegations of a scheme to defraud Medicaid, fraudulent billing, and illegal kickbacks. The records directly cite Carol Levin's reporting that exposed Evergreen's owners, husband and wife David Backus and Sean Grigo, living a lavish lifestyle of high-dollar cars and travel on private jets, as their company billed millions to taxpayer-funded Medicaid for services clients and employees said were not provided as claimed.
Sean and David, are you willing to come talk with us about why the feds are raiding your business?
The FBI records detail how Evergreen's owners pocketed millions, paid upper-level managers like CEO Chantel Mogadon's $703,000 a year.
We're not here to try to get one over or be greedy or anything of the nature.
Federal investigators said the ill-gotten monies earned by the defendants through their fraud scheme are at least $28 million. At Minneapolis federal court in the aftermath of the raid,
Get a life.
the owners continued to deny all wrongdoing.
You're a after this, me and you are to it later, okay?
You're accused of stealing tens of millions of dollars.
And you're accused of putting 300 clients on the street because you want to stand outside
Because
and
of your
make shit up at us. Our greed?
Millions of dollars?
We didn't steal millions of dollars, bro. Read the state statute. Have a good f***ing life.
Everything you've said is false. Everything you said is slander, and will be availed in the court. I promise you that.
In court, the judge froze Evergreen's assets. A grand jury indicted Grigo and two high-ranking managers. While the legal proceedings are still playing out, the treatment center closed its doors permanently. 11 days before the FBI raid shut down Evergreen Recovery, in Ramsey County Court, Joseph Sandoval pled guilty to murders he does not even remember committing. Referencing treatment failures, his lawyer told the court Joseph is not alone in responsibility for the loss of life. More than 2 years after seemingly incomprehensible murders, answers like how and why for a grieving mom,
I love this picture. I feel like he smiles at me every day.
finally coming to light. But answers don't fill voids.
It was our last day together.